Give me a D and a G. It's the Dunga Show. It's the Dunga Show.
Hey, dog, your beard's looking flickin' great, my man.
Thanks, Gus. I've been using the Bush Beard Wash.
The what now?
At Bush Beard, they know that every man with a beard is a unique beardo. And that's why they offer a wide range of products to cater to every beard's needs. Whether you have a long and luscious mane or prefer to keep it short and sharp, their products will help you achieve that perfect look.
From the nourishing beard oil and balm to the refreshing beard wash, their products are made with all-natural local ingredients to keep that beard healthy, soft, and lustrous. The beard comb and brush are designed to detangle and shape your beard, making sure you always look your best.
At Bush Beard, they're dedicated to providing the best possible grooming experience for all the beardos out there. So why settle for an average beard when you can have a glorious, well-groomed one? Try Bush Beard products today and unleash the full potential of your beard.
Be sure to use Dog and Gus 10 and get 10% off your order.
Bush Beard, the small-town brand with the big old Canadian heart. Welcome to the Dog and Gus Show.
Soon to be on Be Kind Radio.
Yep, a couple of months. July 1st.
Is that the plan?
That's the hard launch, July 1st, soft launch, middle of June.
All right.
That's exciting.
It is.
Very.
Who do we got going on today?
We have Mr. Chase Van Dusen with us today. Very excited to chat with him.
Hey, Chase, what's going on, man?
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm not going to lie. I've been listening to you guys over the last few days and I've turned into a big fan. So all of a sudden, this is a little strange to be on the other end of the call, but I'm really happy to be here. Thanks again for the invite.
We appreciate the following and we appreciate you being here. It's great to have you.
We'll be easy on you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I see a lot of things behind you instrumentally. Can you explain that?
Yeah, that's my wall of guitars and equipment and things that if I need it, I grab it really quick. Some of it's long-term storage, some of it's short-term storage, but it's a little bit less messy than my workstation where my studio is. I've been in writing mode the last couple of months, so I came back from the studio not too long ago, so I haven't had a chance to clean it up, so I figured this was a better backdrop.
It's a nice backdrop.
Yeah, because there's nothing worse than a messy backdrop to talk to us, right?
Like your house?
Yeah, like my place.
Yeah.
Shut it.
We keep it tidy up in here.
Yeah.
Keep it tidy.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah. Well, in some portions, well, you can't see it all anyway, and that's probably good. Yeah, that's cool. I was so with your writing right now. So how does that process look? Does it just like you would go with pen and paper or your notes in your phone or what? How does that look? Does it just kind of hit you and you start writing?
Yeah. It really all depends. So for recently, my writing style has changed. Previously, it was I'd have an idea here, an idea there, and it was all voice memos until like every recording device that I had ended up running out of space. So it turned into not really feasible for the last few years. So I tend to demo on a recording studio here, and I'm inspired a lot by drum beats. So recently I'll sit down and I'll have an idea, and whether it be a concept or whether it be I'm feeling something I just really want to move, I find myself editing or programming drums, and then I'll write and record music around that. And that's what I've been doing the last few years. But this time in particular, it was very lyric and melody focused. So it's been a little bit of a different approach this time. A lot of acoustics have been getting used as opposed to the electrics over the last year. So, yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
For someone who hasn't heard you before, how would you describe your music?
I'd like to consider myself like a true singer-songwriter, where lyrics to me are the most important part of a song. So, yeah, if anyone hasn't heard of me before, I'm someone who takes songwriting really seriously. And and I write about what's going on in my life or someone close to me, their life. I tend to write about real scenarios. So if anyone's interested in listening to emotional music, I guess, or thought-provoking music, that's what I'm all about. So whether it's super positive, sometimes a bit more negative. These days, I like to be more inspirational. Yeah, that's what I've been about.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So what or who inspires you? I know you've touched on that a little bit, but just stories, or is there stuff that comes up? How does that
Yeah.
come about?
I have like a really eclectic taste in music. It's all over the place. Probably very similar to Doug. It's all over the place. I'm not really, I guess, long story short, I've been writing music since I was like 9 years old, and I'm significantly older than that now. And so for me, I tend to come up with a lot of creative ideas like out of nowhere. And in terms of songwriting inspiration, I'm like a sucker for like everything from like Shawn Mendes to Ed Sheeran to I was a big fan of Dashboard Confessional, a big fan of John Mayer. So I'm more on the pop side of the singer-songwriter, but for me, there's like nothing better. Even like a Taylor Swift, like so much respect for someone who can sit down and write a classic song, a song that's going to speak to a wide range of people. So I gather inspiration, maybe not from a musical standpoint, but for sure that's what I shoot for when I sit down to write.
Yeah, like those are all cool. You know, it's funny you mentioned John Mayer, and I always thought he was like a cheesy guy. And then like back in the Bodies of Wonderland stage, and then I learned how good he was as a guitar player, I was kind of shocked actually. I was like, wow, this guy's like a virtuoso on the guitar, right? So yeah.
Yeah. But you know what? And you'd almost never know, because the great thing about finding a good songwriter is they take their craft so seriously that they never want to do anything other than serve the song. So it's just like Ed Sheeran is a phenomenal guitarist, but you wouldn't really know unless you see him doing his looping set, right? When it's just him and his acoustic, and you go, "Oh, this guy's incredible." So yeah, I think that's some of the best songwriters are when you don't even really know how talented they are at their instrument, because they're always just trying to serve the song.
Yeah, that makes sense too.
You
And
do-
what makes you think that I don't have an eclectic music style?
You hurt the boy.
Like I said, I've been listening to you guys over the last few days. I'm like, okay, I think Doug and I get it. People tend to listen to my music and go, oh yeah, I think, or see my tattoos and go, oh, I think I know what kind of music you listen to. But I'm like, everything from hip hop to metal. Metal's a big thing for me. Like, especially if I've been writing for like weeks on end. I typically end my day with like decompression. I really need to listen to something completely outside of my own wheelhouse. When I heard that you liked metal, I was like, okay, yeah, like that's for me is like getting out of my or super pop, or I listen to folky or more folk music, whether it's country singer songwriter, folk singer songwriter. Yeah, so I could be wrong, but that was the impression that I got. I was like, okay, I've got a pretty eclectic taste in music as well.
Yeah. So do I. Dang.
Okay. Back to Chase, please.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just
If you had a choice, if you had a chance to collaborate with anyone, who would it be?
Anyone?
Anyone.
Ed Sheeran. I would say it
Wow.
would either be Ed Sheeran or Taylor Swift. Honestly, I would just want to learn from the masters right now.
she's definitely
When you hear some music, when you hear a singer-songwriter, they're going in with like a Taylor Swift, whether it be like Panic at the Disco, when he had that song when he went in with Taylor Swift. I'm going, oh, I wonder what this is going to sound like. And it's just absolutely phenomenal. The songwriting just like went up 10 notches. That for me, I always find really interesting from a songwriting standpoint. Being whether like I've written for and with pop artists, I've written with hip hop artists, I've written with dance. I've done dance songs. I've been either credited and or ghost written. And for me, I just love being in the room when there's someone who's either they're a songwriter or they're just a creative, and feeding off that, having no idea what we're going to come up with. But yeah, if I had my wish list, I would say it'd be one of them.
Fair.
that's solid.
You ever watch her when she's in the audience at an award show and they're singing up, like she's up dancing, she's up singing, she knows the words to every song that everybody's singing.
Yeah.
And that impressed the crap out of me. So
She's a student of the game.
yep, she is.
Absolutely.
So that's a good call.
A lot of respect.
Yep.
Yeah. Like really talented. You got to give credit where credit's due. Some people don't
Absolutely.
like her, and I'm like, oh, that's stupid because you just don't like her because she's popular. That's
And it's hard to be popular. At the end of the day, it's not easy to write a great
It's a really good point. What's the most difficult thing about being a musician?
Isolation sometimes. I think that when I was doing projects with bands, scheduling could be the most difficult thing. Trying to set up band practices, or whether it be studio time or shows, trying to have everything align. So that's part of the reason why I went more of the solo route over the last few years. And I've realized that sometimes that's the most difficult part, is the isolation and not having, when I don't know if I'm starting an idea and I don't really have any way to know whether it's good or not. I need to fully flesh out a song and then start showing it to people. And it might I might write 10 songs and only one or two make the cut. So very often I find that's the hardest, is I'm my biggest critic, whether it's recorded music or my live show. Anyone who's seen me live, something to expect is I'm that guy that records himself. And some people do it for social media posts and stuff. For me, I record my set because I give myself 24 hours to live with it, the performance, and then I watch it again and I critique myself. So I'm that guy that I'm always going, how could I make it better? Could I have maybe told a story that I've told before a bit better? Maybe I didn't explain the content of a song the way that I thought that I had. Yeah, isolation and being your own worst critic can be really difficult as an artist.
Makes sense.
I'm not my own worst critic. He is.
Hey, it
I'm
works.
supposed to be. Yeah, it
That
does.
dynamic works.
Did you get out at all to anything from the CMA Music Week?
No, and it was crushing. I was really burnt out. Long story short, I was gone for 8 days recording my newest EP. I came back, and the night I came back, my grandfather was rushed to the hospital, and he unfortunately passed away a few days later. And I had a show that very next weekend, and I was just burnt out by the end of it. But seeing all the photos that were circulating, I was super impressed. I was also really excited to see people that I know winning big awards, like seeing Double Experience winning that huge win. I was going, man, if I could have been a fly on the wall. Missed out. But yeah, especially being an Ottawa Music Industry Coalition member, yeah, it was unfortunate that I missed it, but I absolutely will be there next year. What do you guys think? I saw photos from you guys on the red carpet, and
Yeah, it was so well run.
yeah,
You could tell, first of all, sorry about your grandfather.
Yeah, condolences.
Yeah, sorry about that.
thank you.
But the event itself was just a small part of a big week. A dog got to see a lot of the acts. He got to see much more than I did, which was great. Like, he was enjoying the live music and the idea of it, then making it a whole week. It's like, it's the right thing to do, because, Dog and I talked, what are they going to do for a whole week and this and that? But they made a really good point when Melanie addressed the crowd and was like, everybody has a music week or a movie, like TIFF, the film festivals and all these things. She sees it growing into that as well, like as the Ottawa Awards, like it could be film as well. And, she's a visionary, really, honestly. Like, she's very motivated and forward thinking and a great person. So I just think they crushed it. And we had such a great time. We spent about an hour and a half going live on Instagram and interviewing some of the people that were there, some of the winners, actually, like some of the people that had been on our show before.
Nice.
And it was a great experience. It was really, really amazing to be at Southam Hall which is like the Mecca for arts, right? And I think that, I applaud everybody that worked so hard on that. The volunteers, the people on Mel's staff, like herself, like all these people worked so hard in the background to create this event, and it was amazing. I agree. I think
I really loved the diversity of music that they had. They started it out with Cody Coyote, and he's an incredible person. We got to meet him finally on the red carpet. That was really cool. I lost my voice because I was screaming and yelling so much at the show, and Gus went home, and I went out to the after party. So I didn't get home till like 3+ in the morning, and I'm not as young as I used to be. So it was a rough day on Friday. But so cool to hang out with the guys from the New Hires and Almere Jules.
Nice.
And then check out this band, Funk You. They were the band at the after party. And yeah, they were so much fun. And then Raphael Weinworth Brown got up on stage with them with their cello and played a set with a funk band with his cello. It was so cool.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think next year is going to be bigger and better. And
That's awesome.
we were joking with Double Experience about it. You know, we're going to get out of here, and it's going to be the CTC soon.
That would be that'd be pretty amazing. What I can say is I've been doing music in a bunch of different capacities over. I mean, it's been almost 20 years now that I've been doing music. I started really young as well. But the support that's in the city now, like I was almost anxious and not even sure to what extent I wanted to do music again when I came back almost 5 years ago. And the OMIC has been so supportive, and whether it be shows that like whether it be Sussex shows, Byward Market shows, like all these things that they're supporting or supporting on the back end, whether it be through conferences or again, it was crushing that I wasn't able to make it this year, but I think and I agree with you. Next year is going to be bigger and better than it already was. But from what I saw, I was just like, I was pretty awestruck. I was really impressed with the staff, which I'm always impressed with just based on what I saw on social media. And fingers crossed. If I don't meet you guys beforehand at a show, I'm sure I'll see you guys next year at Capital Music Group.
I don't think we'll wait that long.
Yeah,
I hope not.
I would want that. I hope we see at a show. I mean, I don't tend to go as much as I used to with these two little kids now, but certainly I live through dog. I live through the dog. If your path created the perfect 5-year plan, and in 5 years, you know, you're sitting wherever you're at, and what does that look like to you as, say, like if you were to dream big and the next 5 years is your growth, and where are you?
To be perfectly honest, over my career in music, I've had major highs and major lows. And I would say that in 5 years, best case scenario, if I'm able to pay rent, being a singer-songwriter, that would be ideal. Because right now, I'm just more than ever in my career, I'm just overwhelmed with the support. If I could continue to be supported and continue to be able to support the people around me at a musical level, in terms of just even not in a collaborative way, but even just being able to show up at shows and continue to be a part of the music community, that for me, I would want to still be as passionate as I am now 5 years from now. It would be icing on the cake if I was able to actually pay rent doing music. It can be expensive, and but for me, it's been paying off like crazy, especially paying it forward. Been having a lot of musicians that during the pandemic stopped doing music and are now reaching out to me going, hey, you've inspired me to go and write that EP or write that album that I should have done pre-pandemic, that I wanted to do, but I didn't think was possible. So yeah, for me, I'm so happy with the way things are going right now that if I'm still this passionate in 5 years, then that's exactly where I want to be.
Good answer.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about where you're going to be. I see you're doing Osgood, the Porch Fest.
Yeah. The organizers are super awesome. And any excuse that I can get to play outside, I'm there. Which is why last year being able to play the 5 through OMIC that happens in the Byward Market was like one of my favorite shows I've ever played. And with Osgood, I played there last year, and essentially people on the main strip, they volunteered their porches for bands to come and play. And I loved the idea, and it was great last year. They've got food trucks that come, and you're essentially supporting Osgood. So all the money is going to a great cause. And that's like my favorite kind of show, where I can pay it forward and support. Like I played similar cultural night market last year to support Arm Prior playing. Those are my favorite kinds of shows. So yeah, I play June 14th, which is a Saturday.
Yeah, it's a great event. We went a couple of years ago, and it's not far from me, so I like that. So it's
Awesome.
great. It's they do a good job, and
Yeah.
it's fun to, like, I would wish I lived I was like proper, because like I could give up my porch.
Yes, you would do that in a second.
Oh, yeah, I'd love it.
That'd be cool.
I'd probably be promoting our podcast, but that's
Yeah.
that's another discussion. I think you should listen to the Dog and Gus show.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a great venue. And like you said, outdoor, there's nothing better than outdoor music, really. I just love
Yeah,
it. So
I agree.
I agree. What was the worst piece of advice someone gave you when you were starting as a musician?
Wow. Okay. So it's funny you bring that up because I'm not sure whether it was Doug or Gus that initially messaged me, which by the way, that message you sent me hit me at a really great time because we all have our ups and our downs, and you sent me a message saying I love Blueprint. And for me, I'm like, I loved that song, but I never really got the traction that I was hoping for. And that song was about giving advice to an up and coming artist. And I gave that advice to this up and coming artist, and I had in my mind sometimes that I've had terrible advice given to me. And in the past, what's been, I would say, one of the worst piece of advice that I've gotten was that worst piece of advice. My songs are too wordy. So I've received that. And for me, it made me hyper focus on the wrong thing. For me, songs come up really organically. And one of those pieces of advice I've gotten in the past has been your songs are too wordy if you want them to be mainstream. And I focus too heavily on taking out things when I think that a song is almost like a living thing. And when I start writing and a song is created, it's a moment that I hope that I captured, or it's an idea that I would like to have described or to have done correctly. And when I received that piece of advice, it kind of like sent me spinning. Wow. Yeah. What I realized, and that's again what Blueprint was about, was um, we need to kind of be careful with the advice that we give sometimes because it doesn't one shape doesn't fit everyone. So, in fact, all the advice that I'd given to that person, which inspired the song, they did the complete opposite. And they've been excelling and doing like really well in the music, doing music. And I'm glad they didn't take any of my advice because we all are responsible for creating our own blueprint. So,
Good timing, dog.
Thanks, man.
Dog sent that over.
yeah, no, and you never know. And honestly, sometimes when I've reached out to people, I've gotten a similar response where it's, hey, like, I hope you know that like really meant a lot. And when you reached out to me, I wanted you to know that really meant a lot at that time. I was like, okay, perfect timing because I was really down on myself for that week going, I wish Blueprint had have hit harder in terms of I'm trying never to focus on numbers, but it's still a numbers game sometimes. For me, I don't want it to define the success or the failure of a song. So when I hear or get comments like that from people in the industry, it means a lot.
Well, Dog has this massive appetite for music, and he's constantly listening to the new stuff, especially Ottawa stuff. He's great at that, and then he'll send it to me, and then I'll listen to it, of course, and then. But I agree, Blueprint is a great track, and I think that Dog is very gracious when he does that, and he does it quite often. He sends little notes to people if he likes something. If he doesn't like it, he wouldn't have sent it. Just so you know, he's not gonna put any negative
Appreciate
stuff out there. But he doesn't. It's not much that you don't like, really.
No,
like,
I'm
pretty open minded. So.
Well, because I understand, like, I don't like I've never written a song, but I know, like, taking your heart and putting it out on a piece of paper, and then having nobody go, well, I kind of, but you pick pieces of songs and you resonate with that. And I'm kind of more of a guy who likes the singer-songwriter type of feel, because that's actually the next question I was going to ask you. Other than Taylor and Ed, can you pick another favorite singer-songwriter?
Another favorite singer-songwriter.
You're setting him up for something.
Honestly,
I'm interested.
Brian Tedder, probably, of One Republic.
Okay.
So, what are you thinking about?
Yeah, I'm definitely along those lines, especially when I know that they're not just writing for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's very humbling to give up songs to other people, especially when you can release it yourself. And I think that that's like one of the things I want to work on in the future is not holding my cards so close, especially in like a songwriting scenario when you go, oh, I've got an idea, but I'm still trying to make a name for myself. And you know what I mean? Like, so when I see people like Ryan, where I go, oh, wow, he wrote that. Oh, wow. That's amazing. Or, I would say that's another one. How about for you? Who's your one of your favorites?
Well, we have one in common. Steve Earle.
Okay.
That's a big one for the two of us. One of my favorites is a gentleman named Rodney Crowell, and he's from Texas.
Okay.
Willie Nelson just recorded a whole brand new album of all Rodney Crowell songs.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
it is phenomenal.
How many albums has Willie really?
80, 90. I think it's just like it's 93rd, I think they said.
Like
Craziness.
as old as he is. Basically.
Well, I mean, but back in the day, country music, they would produce 2 albums a year.
That's true. Yeah.
You know, you would get like 6 months. Every 6 months, they'd be putting out something new.
I've been on a big Townes Van Zandt run right now, so I think he's right there for me. Yeah, big fan of him too. So there's a funny quote actually. Steve Earle said like something about Bob Dylan's coffee table. He's like, Townes Van Zandt. If you haven't heard of Townes Van Zandt, and you say Bob Dylan's the best songwriter, then Townes Van Zandt would be on his coffee table writing songs for him. And then Townes Van Zandt said, well, if you knew Bob Dylan's security, nobody's standing on his coffee table or something along those lines. Anyways, yeah. So we're big fans of that stuff. Like, and I think that also when it's pertinent and heartfelt lyrics, even Gord Downie comes to mind for me, obviously, because just like his experience of Canada and how he would write like all day, every day in his little notebook and comes up with these amazing lyrics that are very Canadiana. And then, obviously I have a huge crush on that band. So it's not a secret, but I mean, it's interesting. And it's something that Doug and I are so interested in that we created a podcast to talk about it. But it's also like people like yourself and like some of the artists that we've spoken to and people that we respect in the industry and music that we enjoy. We're just always, we're so interested in the background end of it and like the intricacies of writing and the things that we can't do. Right. So it's such an interesting thing to ask because we're always interested in that answer. Right.
Yes.
I'll end it right there because I was blurbing, but, so what can fans expect from a live show?
Besides me recording myself, lots of stories. I didn't do it previously, but my photographer had mentioned to me that his favorite part of a show is knowing about the song. And for me, I kind of like the mystery of it sometimes. I don't like to just, especially because sometimes I've told people what songs are about and they go, really? I thought it was about da 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 da. And they're so crushed. And I go, oh, okay, well, but when he told me that, it changed my whole live show. And I think for the better, now I make a conscious effort to talk about what the song's about. So before I play, I'm going to give a little bit of a background about it. And I think it's all about storytelling. So whether it's through song or whether you're setting up the song with a story, I think it's really important. So there's that. And I believe everything I say and everything I sing. So if you come to one of my shows, you're getting a really intimate experience. That's why I love playing live on Elgin. That's why I love more of the intimate settings, which is why whether it's through John or through an artist, if I get the offer, even for an open mic, that's one of my favorite places to test out material. Yeah, the more intimate, the better I do on stage, as opposed to sometimes bigger venues. I really enjoy it, but I would say that the smaller venues allow me to really open up and gauge the audience reaction. The last show I played was on the 16th at Live on Elgin, and I was trying a bunch of new songs from my EP for the first time live, and it was really rewarding seeing the audience reactions, especially to certain parts. And yeah, at a live show, it's like my favorite place to kind of just talk to the audience and just sing to them.
It's great. Live on Elgin's a good place to do that for sure.
Yeah, that's great.
Is there an instrument that you would like to learn to play?
I wish I was better at piano. That's been because when I go into the studio, I play everything with the exception of drums. So very often, especially with MIDI, I was getting better at piano, but now really you can draw in notes for MIDI. And I wish I was better at the piano. And on a wish list of things because piano I think will come. I'm that person. If there's a piano, I'll sit down and I'll play everything I know how to play. But I would love to also the harmonica. I would love to be that guy who's like really good at the harmonica, but I'm not that guy.
Harmonica.
And is that two of them?
No, I have no idea.
That's a plural.
I don't know.
Harmonica.
Hey,
Yeah. What's your favorite song of all time? I have another question about songs later, but this one.
Favorite song of all time? That's a hard one.
mm-hmm.
It always is.
I want to say, because I'm also like a big Beatles fan, so I would say almost anything by them, but maybe Blackbird. Maybe
Love that song.
there's just something about it. And then when I found out what it was about, it was, it's beautiful no matter what. But when you find out that there's such a deep meaning, so for me, I would say maybe if I had to choose, maybe Blackbird.
What is the song about?
From my understanding, is from the emancipation of the slaves.
Really? That's interesting. I didn't know that actually, but that is it does make it a little bit more of it's a great song no matter what, but yeah, it does give it a better meaning, I was like, Here Comes the Sun. That's like my Beatles song. Although it's more of a George song.
George Harrison?
Yeah.
So good. That's another really great one.
Mine is favorite Beatles is Nowhere Man.
It's a great song too.
Yeah.
They have a few.
They had a few to pick from for sure. Yeah. Little successful.
Well, just like, I think the way that it was explained recently on a podcast about the Beatles was George was obviously the lead guitarist, and he would never play. Wouldn't go on past the note, right? Like, how a lot of guitarists would go on and maybe add a couple things, but he would just finish there, and then it would go back to the lyrics, or be bass, or be the drums, or you know what I mean? Like, it was just so well produced, the music itself. So I think that was a big part of it, and they were also brilliant, right? So,
yeah, there were no weak links in that band.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, people under like Ringo's so estimated, like
underappreciated.
Yeah, because you're with three superstars, right? Like, and like
exactly.
I don't know. It's probably how it goes that way. He did all right anyway.
He did all right for a guy.
Still part of it
for a guy named Ringo.
Is that his real name?
Richard Starkey is his real name.
Oh,
yeah. There you go. You just learned something.
That's why I do this, man.
Yeah,
I'm interested.
Yeah, I just gave you some knowledge. Yep. Richard Starkey, his son Zach is a musician as well. Zach Starkey. Let's talk tattoos, Chase.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. You got a guy?
I'll leave.
No, you won't. You can stay.
Yeah. Joel Conroy. And he was tattooing in Ottawa pre-pandemic, but he's done all of my major work. So I haven't been tattooed in a bit. Again, it's very pricey.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to go, music, tattoos. But yeah, do you have a guy?
Yeah, Greg Belanger is my guy. Sugar Skull Studios. Yeah.
And what end of the city is that in?
He's down off Conroy and Saint Laurent Boulevard in the industrial park there.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been going to see him for 20 plus years. So, but same as you, it's like pay the rent, get a tattoo.
Exactly.
So I go with paying the rent right now.
Yeah, totally
fair call.
My landlord seems to think that's the right call.
It's the right call.
Yeah. You ever have I like to talk about it because it's fun, but everybody come up and do you have a full sleeve? Because I notice it's down at your wrist.
Yeah. I've got
you ever have anybody come up and lift up your shirt?
No, I'm lucky. I think that most people, I don't always show my tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe in a show setting when I'm on stage to make sure that my sleeves don't touch my strings. That's the majority of the reason why I'm pulling on my sleeves, and why I'm very selective for what I wear, because I don't want my sleeves to fall down mid playing. But no, I'm very lucky. No one touches my tattoos. Do you have a different experience? People pull up your sleeves? Okay.
Yeah. Just like at a bar, or you're just standing there talking to friends, and they come up and they hi, please don't touch me. And unless you're,
and then he says, Gus, get away from me.
Yeah, Gus, would you stop, please? Jesus. No,
just kidding. I don't have any.
Yeah,
it's like I'm the outlier.
Well,
I'm getting one though this summer.
You've been saying that for years now.
I'm waiting for my mom to write it out, and I like the idea that we got from one of the artists because there's barcodes that you can get put on, and it's like my mom's voice, which I would before she passes away at some point. Of course, we're all headed there, but I would love to have her just say like a few sentences, and that's kind of one of them. And then I'll probably get two. I'll get her writing Tilly and Flo, which are my kids' names, and then get that too. So
It's a great
I'm
idea.
into it. Well, it's I've always thought it needed to be something to me that's special, and my mom is very special to me, and then my daughters are super special as well. So it's a great combination, right?
And I love the fact that you think you're going to stop at 2.
Yeah. Well, as I age, I might get more, but you never know. Yeah, but no, though, I think I'd be happy with that amount. You know?
Okay. Yeah.
I could live with it.
Okay, fine. Live with that.
And then dog will be like, "How many got now?"
Body.
Because it's like super. Well, the way Dogs explains it is, it's not addictive, but it's a culture. It's like it's a fun thing to do. It's creating art.
Therapeutic.
Right?
Yeah,
I find it very therapeutic, especially when I'm doing like multiple hour sessions and I'm just sitting there and you've got the needle machine, just have the tattoo gun going. And for me, I get lost in my thoughts. I get consumed with the reasons why I got tattooed. As an aside, it's 10 years sober for me this year. So for me, that's my entire right arm, especially being in music for like I started when I was like 16. And so I did that up until I was almost 30. And then I took a little bit of time off and to try to find myself. And in that time, I was always concerned about going back to bars, going back to, you know what I mean? There's nothing better than a writing session when there's a couple of beers being drunk or when there's a bottle of scotch. And so for me, it was really therapeutic getting my entire right arm essentially dedicated to that journey. So yeah, that's why I could see it being for me. It's not so much that it was addictive, but it was for me, I had a lot of stuff to work out. So, and little reminders every once in a while where I look down and I'm a collector, as you can see back here.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's a collection of memories on my left and right arm.
Great answer.
Power to you if you can get two, and it sounds like they'd be extremely meaningful. So I think you'd stop at 2. I think so.
Yeah, I'd like to.
I only know one person who has. That was my brother. He's only got 2. And my other brother's covered. So, like me.
Yeah.
You ever get anybody say, where are you going to put your next tattoo?
No, there's still space on my arms. There's still space on my arms. So I think the people, I mean, not a lot. I think I could probably fit a little bit of writing somewhere. But yeah, no, I don't get that question. I'm really fortunate that, I mean, even people who've known me for a long time don't necessarily know how extensive both my arms are because I don't show my tattoos very often. I kind of like to keep a little bit of mystery, I guess. I don't always show them. I'm that guy also that I love my tattoos to stay looking like they're brand new. Even though I think my first tattoo, I was 15 or 16.
Holy cow.
So I always keep my arms out of the sun. They're always covered. So, yeah.
Makes sense.
16. Wow.
Can I ask you a personal question about your sobriety? And I'll tell you my reason, because I'm 9 years this summer.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I'll tell you my reason too, just so we were both. But what has sobriety done for you personally? And if it's too much, you don't have to answer it, but I would love to hear you.
I think it's a great question. And I was even on the fence of whether I was going to talk about sobriety because not a lot of people know. For me, it's changed my life completely in nothing but positive ways. So when I became sober, I met myself. I got to know myself, the good and the bad. I think that there's a romantic idea of drinking to celebrate, drinking when you're depressed, drinking when you want to be inspired, and learning how to be all those things without alcohol was the most growth I think I've ever had in my entire life. So the last 10 years have been the best 10 years of my life. And whether it be music, my incredibly amazing wife that I don't think I ever would have had the opportunity to meet her and to have such a healthy, strong relationship if it wasn't for sobriety. And for me, there's no going back. And I think that's the best way that I can describe it is
great answer.
I was like born again, not in a religious sense, but getting to know myself 10 years ago and celebrating it this year has been like pretty heavy. I don't tell very many people because I do want to hear your story before I pass the mic. It's so deeply personal. And I think that I have nothing but respect for the people who speak on their own sobriety, who are for getting the message out to anyone who needs it. And I definitely in the future want to be one of those people who is able to raise money for whether it be awareness for treatment centers, whether it be for wellness centers. I struggle very often with as soon as people hear that I'm sober. I think also the music hits different when people hear it. Cycle, I don't know if you had a chance to listen to it. All of a sudden it goes, oh, okay, that's what the song's about. So, yeah, thank you very much for asking. And that's kind of what it means to me. How about for you? Congratulations on 9 years. It's a really big deal.
Thank you. And thank you for your answer because it is a personal question. And again, I appreciate your honesty and I'll tell you, well, I had a lot of things, a lot of tragedy, a lot of challenges growing up. And even till when I was 31, my brother was killed in a workplace accident, which really sent me in a spiral. I was already on that route. I was a heavy drinker in the bar business and like these odd jobs and stuff like that. And, I just couldn't control it anymore. And I didn't like myself, like you said, about finding yourself and getting to know yourself. I have, and I'm very appreciative of my sobriety. I think it's this thing that saved my life. I'd be dead. I have no doubt. I wouldn't have kids. I wouldn't have my beautiful partner. I wouldn't be more present with my friends. The one thing that I think I took from it, and it took a while because I got arrested and then I was in jail. I remember I couldn't open the door and leave. And that was a really psychological thing that messed with me. I was like, now I'm officially out of control and I need to get my stuff together. So I went to, 90 and 90 at the beginning. And it really, what it did for me is my presence is really there. I do a lot in a day and it is, sometimes stressful, but I really soak in all of life and I sort of do everything I can in a day, but I don't miss putting my kids to bed or I don't like, you know what I mean? Like I'm just really present. I'm really present. And and it's not like something you can explain to somebody that doesn't have our disease, right? And it's sort of something that I really took a lot from is my ability to be present and to be available and also emotionally available if needed. And I show emotion, which I never used to do. And it's a beautiful thing. It's the best thing I ever did for myself. And I'm really proud of it. And you should be too. Thank you for your answer. If I could help anybody out there that may be struggling, there's people out there that'll take your calls or DMs or whatever and take you to a meeting or whatever you need to do. The only way to get sober is to go to meetings though, in my opinion, but that's the easiest way to do it. It's still the hardest thing you're ever going to do because you have to admit that you have a problem, and nobody wants to do that. So, but thank you. Yeah, that's wonderful and good for you on 10 years. I can't wait to get my 10-year thing. So yeah, that's awesome.
Well, again, I really appreciate you sharing that. And I think I wrote a song a number of years ago before I got sober. And there was a line in it that says, I'm not afraid of dying and that scares me to death. And I think that that's why I can identify with the idea that every day I'm just grateful because I really didn't think that I would be able to enjoy this, make it to this age. There was a part of me that thought I was going to be part of the 27 club. And I was just like, then when I made it to 28, I was going, okay, really, it's either now or never. So, yeah, again, thank you very much for sharing your story.
Yeah, no, thank you too. Yeah, it's wonderful. I should ask a fun question now just because it's fun.
Because fun questions are fun.
I know I asked this question a couple times recently and I'd love to ask you. So it's kind of a stupid question.
Just ask it.
Yeah. So you just robbed a bank. All right. And you're getting into the getaway car and turn on some music. What's the song that's playing as you're driving away?
Probably, I don't know if, probably anything by Trophy Eyes or anything by The Story So Far. I'm like a big sucker for like that Midwest emo movement. Like That's probably what
Trophy
I
Eyes,
listen
that's
to.
a
That
good
stuff
one.
gets me really pumped up. Or anything by A Day to Remember.
We're writing this down because we've never heard of them before, or I haven't.
Oh, I've
Okay,
heard of
cool,
I've heard
cool.
of Trophy Eyes. I just wanted to remind myself later to.
Yeah, we always like to
fire
do
that
this.
up.
So
Yeah, I love that question because it brings so many.
yeah, what do you got this time?
I'm gonna go London Calling.
Interesting.
Just
That's
like
a
the
good one.
the
Oh, for
lead
sure.
up, how
Yeah.
it kind of gets going, and then
Every time I answer this question with Gus, I always think of fast paced songs like this, the riffs and stuff, because you're driving away. You're not just slowly pulling out. You're like peeling out of wherever you are to get away, right?
maybe at first, and then you
Yeah.
gotta
So,
kinda,
but mine this time around is Black Betty by Ram Jam.
that's a good one.
That's
Yeah.
a good choice. That's a good choice.
Hell yeah, yeah, I like that one.
I just like ran round and there we would go.
Yeah.
Window rolled down.
If
You know?
what the video, like you look like the lead singer actually in the video when he's like they're at like it looks like they're at a barbecue.
Yeah, it looks like you're in somebody's backyard doing the tune, right?
Yeah, it's great.
Anyway, I got the song in my head.
There's another version of that song that's really good too.
I got it stuck in my head now too. Black Betty, man,
Oh yeah,
that's going to be
Bam,
there for the
bam,
rest of the
bam.
night for
Man of the
sure.
Lamb. Gonna have to play it on the way home.
yeah. Just
As-
drive slow, bud.
No,
Drive fast.
as a singer-songwriter, I've asked this question before. Which is better for you? Like, which would you enjoy more? Somebody covering one of your songs that you've written, or people at a concert singing along to a song that you've written?
Wow, I've never had someone cover one of my songs, but I've had people singing back my music, and I think that like to me that's the ultimate. If someone took the time to learn the lyrics of my song and they feel like they need to sing it back to me, I would say that one's the biggest one for me. As someone
That's
got in
usually-
their car or they walk to the show, they know the lyrics and they just want to sing back that chorus or that verse back to me. That is a special moment for me.
That's usually the answer.
Yeah, it's a good one too.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
Part of the club. Yes.
Yeah. Well, now you're going to be a part of another club because we ask everybody this question.
Okay.
It's a very simple question actually, but I really like to let
Let's see if he's in sync with me as he was when we talked about hamburgers.
maybe.
Let's see.
Yeah, because I do tomato and pickles, and the boys here don't. We speak of 2 decades of music in this question. It's the 80s and the 90s, and in those 2 decades, which music do you prefer?
90s.
Damn,
No
These are
question.
guys-
I'm a huge, and I know you are too, because again, I've been listening to you guys. Whenever you mention Nirvana, that for me is like one of my all-time favorites. And you've even referenced the Unplugged. The Unplugged MTV like changed my life.
Me
So,
Me
like,
too.
there's nothing like when I heard that, and I was a little bit late to the game. So for me, these I love everything from Pearl Jam to Soundgarden. They all hit me all the way to like White Zombie to
Yes.
early Manson, Pantera to, for me, that was 90s. Zero
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, the Unplugged New York MTV Unplugged series, like the just even not just the like
Not just the-
I had the cardigan with the holes cut out in the sleeve and everything that Kurt wear that was a different color, but it's still the same style. But yeah, like even Stone Temple Pilots and like Alice in Chains and like like those those were massive for me. I just absolutely love them, and I love the 90s hip-hop era too because I just was of that age, and obviously all the best hip albums came
Beastie
out then too.
Boys.
So yeah, the Beastie Boys are just like this, like just License to Ill and like the Sabotage video, and just like there's so many good things from
Yeah, this
that.
is my turn to leave the room. We talk tattoos. You leave. You talk
well,
90s, I leave.
but there's nothing wrong with the 80s either. It's just that
I get it.
preferably I like the 90s. It was
Yeah,
more,
yeah.
I told you I love Joy Division and I love Depeche Mode, and I
Yeah, for sure.
like so.
For sure.
There's no 80s that I don't really. Well, there's a lot of 80s. that I don't like,
there's a lot.
but there's
Don't be
some-
lying now.
Michael Jackson was awesome. Like I love that stuff.
Absolutely.
Chase, what do you got coming up besides the Osgood Ports Fest? I know you've got something else coming up with Miss Erica Brighthill.
Yeah. I'm really excited. I've always wanted to do this style of show, and it's a Nashville style singer-songwriter circle that I'm going to be doing June 8th and it's called the Songbird
Songbird
Coven.
Cove.
Yeah, and yeah, it's the people that are putting it on. It's being done with Sam Davu and Roxanne. They're hosting, and they're just amazing. Really, really supportive. Really, really nice. And I'm excited to be a part of this with them. It's going to be my first time playing with Erica Brighthill, but I'm a fan. I think it's going to be a great night. So yeah, that's what I've got coming up next in anticipation for singles that are going to be coming out in hopefully the next month. Hopefully, the idea is to have the songs coming out around June, but June's here, so it might need to wait a little bit. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to that show. It's the next one on the list.
On the docket. And
I
where
was
is that?
gonna say Docket too. There you go. Perfect.
Where's the Songbird Coven? Is that a place or is that just the name of the show?
Oh, it's actually, yeah, it's at Broadway's Bar and Grill, Prince of Wales,
Okay.
which
Okay.
in itself is going to be really cool because I think my parents are going to come out, which is really nice for them to like be able to come to a show that's not like, Chase, where do we find parking? It's like, I don't know, it's downtown. So this is where they're going to be able to come, reserve a seat, and get to hear some of the stories behind the songs that I write.
It's wonderful.
Awesomeness.
Central. That's a good central location.
I've been there before. Yeah.
Broadway, yeah.
Yep.
Great. Chase, thank you so much for your time today, and we love all your stuff. So we appreciate you coming on and sharing some stuff with us as well, and some new bands to look up too.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Very excited.
But yeah, we'll keep you. Obviously we'll watch how you grow, and then also check you out at some point at a live show, and then of course if we see you at another show, that'd be great too. So yeah, thank you.
Sounds great. Again, I really appreciate your time, and I hope we see each other.
That'd be great. Yeah, man.
All right,
Okay.
Take care.
Stay with us a sec here.
Sounds good.
Dog and Gus, Dog and Gus, Dog and Gus.